Rahim, in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most beneficent. We are starting this program. I am Dr. Riaz Ahmed Saeed, your host and coordinator of this program. Our program, Understanding the Word Religion, is actually a journey from the Training and Leadership Institute, Islamabad, with two German universities. First of all, I would like to introduce why this program. Understanding the world's religions is a captivating journey into the rich tapestry of human beliefs and spiritual traditions. It entails exploring the diverse ways in which people across the globe seek meaning, purpose, and connection with the divine. Through studying these faiths, one can gain insights into the values, rituals, and philosophies that shape cultures and societies. Such understanding fosters tolerance, empathy, and interfaith dialogue, crucial for fostering peace and harmony in an increasing interconnecting world. It also illuminates the common threads of compassion and a shared quest for transcendence that unite us. Transcending the boundaries of religious differences, embracing the study of world religions is an invitation to embrace the multiplicity of human experiences and the shared pursuit of a higher truth. I also say something about framework of the program. First of all, there are 45 minutes for a lecture, and today we have Dr. Kuratul Ain, Chairperson, Faculty of Usuluddin, International Islamic University, Islamabad. Second, we have 30-minute question and answer session. Question will be entertained through raising your hand or as well as written. At the end, 15 or 10 minutes for conclusion. Second one, there are some code of conduct for our participants. Number one, focus on first-hand information, no debate in the course, questions only. I'm going to start. Actually, today we have a very important guest lecture with us, Dr. Aisha Kuratul Ain. Dr. Aisha Kuratul Ain is currently serving as Chairperson, Faculty of Usuluddin, International Islamic University, Islamabad. She did her MPhil in Comparative Religion from International Islamic University, Islamabad in 2011. She completed her PhD in the study of religion at Xi'an University, China in 2015. She has been working as a faculty member at International Islamic University, Islamabad since 2010. She is the author of more than 24 research publications in national and international journals. She has conducted research in a funded project on the approaches and institutions of study of other religions in Pakistan. Her area of research and interest is interfaith dialogue, religious diversity in Pakistan, contemporary trends in Christianity, and Hindu-Muslim relations. Today we have a session, Social Welfare and Community Work in Islam. Now would I like to request Madam Kuratul Ain for the session, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Riaz Ahmed, for introducing me and for giving me the opportunity to talk to the students about this very significant topic, that is social welfare and community work in Islam. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, please.
All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasul nabiyhi al-mursal. Sayyidina Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Since I am talking to you from a virtual forum, so I am not aware of my audience and their background or the levels to which they belong. But I've been told that this is a beginner level presentation on the concept of social welfare and community work in Islam. So we are going to talk about this today in a preliminary manner, inshallah. So I have designed the layout of my talk in two major portions, or I divided into two major themes: social welfare and community work in Islam from theoretical perspective, and the practical pathways or the roadmap that how Islam asks us to do that. Perhaps being this student of the study of religion, I think that all the things which religion asks us to do, or our the believers do in their daily lives, everything is dependent upon some kind of concept or idea that is that resides in their mind or that lies at the heart of their faith. So if we segregate or separate theory from practice, then practice is not deeply rooted, it does not have any foundations, and it is not pertinent to religion only. It is also the case of all kind of theories and all kind of practices which you find in the world. Even in the secular world, when you conduct social welfare or community work, you have full-fledged disciplines dealing with this idea. And you define social welfare, and then you define what a society is, what a community is, and what are the foundations, or what are the basic rights of the social worker and the community you are working in, what are the values you are going to take care of. So you set out the whole theoretical model, and on the basis of that theoretical model, you start, or you just step on the a practical pathway. Same is the case of Islam. I have been told that you have taken already a lecture on the introduction to Islam. So perhaps you about I was muted by the host, so I would request please not to do that again. So because I may not notice and things will go unheard. Yes. So as I was saying, that Islam, you might have taken an introduction to Islam, and I don't know whatever has been told to you about that, but I would like to emphasize here that Islam is not something. When we talk about Islam, Islam is not a religion that is only confined to Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Islam is the religion that was given to all the prophets from Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam all the way to Sayyidina Muhammad, got culminated at Sayyidina Muhammad. So basically, Islam is Deen al-Fitra that was given to all the prophets. So all kind of principles which we find regarding social welfare and community work in Islam, they are the principles that have been given to every prophet who received the message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the betterment of mankind. So it has always been the same since the creation of mankind by God the Almighty. Now we are going to see the basic or the foundation of theoretical perspective, which I have set out here on the famous ayah from Quran. This is the ayah from second chapter, Surah Al-Baqarah, the verse number 177. I'm going to recite that in front of you. This is called Ayat al-Bir. Bir is basically a word. We don't have much time to talk about that, but bir literally means virtue. Bir also comes from the same root word from where the bar comes. Bar means the dry area. So bar comes as a word opposite to bahar. Barro bahar, we call it sea and the dry land, sea and the dry land. So it is used as opposite to sea. In sea, you have all that, you have uh, waves and you have tides and you don't have peace. On the other hand, on the land, you have stability, tranquility, and all that kind of things which you need to move on, which you need to carry on life with. So bir is that kind of virtue which gives you peace at heart. So this ayah defines what that virtue is, which will keep you at home in this universe, right? So this universe is your home, and how to be at home in this universe and how to make it home for others. This is what social welfare and community work is. So this ayah talks about that. ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن
We are not able to hear anything.
I think there's a internet issue. Ma'am, could you hear us? Let me connecting.
Yeah, I'm sorry, there was an interruption, I guess. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah, all right. So I was just saying that bir has no exact parallel in English language. It is not bir that you turn your faces towards east or west, but bir is the one who believes in Allah, the last day, the angels, the books, the prophets, and gives his wealth in spite of love for it to the kinsfolk, to the orphans, to al-masakin or the poor, or to the wayfarer, and to those who ask, and to set servants free, perform salah, give zakah, who fulfill their covenant when they make it, or the promises when they make it, and who are patient in extreme poverty and ailment, and at the time of fighting or the battles. Such are the people of the truth and are muttaqun. So, sadaqu wa ulaika humul muttaqun. These are the words. Sadaqa is the same word which you use for charity, and it is the same word which you use for truthfulness. And I'm going to also share a hadith or the saying of a prophet along with the ayah from Quran. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يا أيها الناس أفشوا السلام وأطعموا الطعام وصلوا الأرحام وصلوا بالليل والناس نئام تدخلوا الجنة بسلام. From this verse and from this hadith, we are going to pick up the key words, right? Salam is another key word which we are going to see in this presentation. All right. So now we are going to talk about the first part of the presentation, that is, as I mentioned, that sets out the theoretical foundations and principles of social welfare and community work in Islam. I have not wasted my time on defining what is social welfare and what is community work. We all know that everything that is done for the betterment of people around us, as I told you when I was talking about the concept of bir, everything that is done to make universe home for people, to make them at ease, to be themselves, to be at home, to be comfortable, to alleviate their suffering. That is community work, that is social welfare. uplifting them, all kind of stuff. And we all know that very well. Now we are going to see that how it works in the paradigm of Islam. First and foremost thing which we need to understand, and why Ayat al-Bir also mentions that, and everything mentions that, is everything that talks about um, uh, any kind of good work in Islam, it begins with Tawheed. Whereas Tawheed is a belief, it is a creed, it is a dogma. How oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is related to every good thing we do. It is related because it tells you, particularly in the concept of social welfare and community work, it tells you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source of isti'ana, the only source for seeking help. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only helper for good deeds. هو المعين هو المستعين. نحن مستعين يعني. We seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and هو خير معين. He is the only helper. On the other hand, Shaitan is the only one who creates troubles and problems. So paradigm of Tawheed gives the social worker the idea that you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He is the one who is always there to help you. And when Almighty, omnipotent, omniscient, omnibenevolent is there with you, no one else can intervene in anything which you do, or can stop you from doing whatever you are doing. And of course, good deeds. And also another very important thing which is in paradigm, which you need to understand in paradigm of Tawheed, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one. When we talk about paradigm of Tawheed in Islam, it's not only confined to oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is also oneness of creation. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created you from a single pair. He has not created you from Adam and multiple Eves. He has not created you from multiple Adams and multiple Eves. One Adam and one Eve. See? So paradigm of Tawheed works here too. Unity of Tawheed, khalq yani, from single pair. He has created you. Then He has given you a deen from Adam to Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So principles are same, foundations are same, teachings are same, criteria of good deeds and bad deeds, criteria of doing good things for people and bad things for people is same. Day of judgment is one, Tawheed. So you are going to be judged on the same standards together. So this is paradigm of Tawheed which regulates your whole life and gives you some standards of morality which are absolute, which are eternal, which are never changing. So such kind of absolute paradigm to work on for the sake of social welfare is very important. Why is this very important? Because all kind of laws and moralities are derived from single God, and they do not change with change in the government, with change in the state, because state is not legislative. In democracy, what happens in today's world, in the secular world, what happens that things are decided on the basis of the choices of people, because it is the people who choose government, who choose the state, who choose legislative bodies. So everything changes. In paradigm of Tawheed, the principles, the foundations, the rules, the laws, the moralities which you get, they come from one God only. Then another very significant foundation or principle which you can see while doing, for the sake of understanding the community work or the community which you are interacting with, is the concept of وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. That you are not honored on the basis of your religion, your ethnicity, your language, or anything which you do. Whites are not should not be given any supremacy over black, or Arabs should not be given any supremacy over Ajam, or any kind of other kind of distinctions which you find in the world. It is not easy to demolish these distinctions unless and until you believe, unless and until it is in your faith, part of your faith, that وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. And Insan is made Khalifa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, vicegerent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the face of earth. Insan, mankind as a whole, not Muslims, not anyone else. So human being as a prototype, human being as son of Adam. See? So these two things are very important to understand. That this kind of belief in Takreem Bani Adam, in veneration, in honoring the mankind, and belief in man being the vicegerent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or human being the vicegerent, it gives you this idea that everyone is respectable, everyone is honored, everyone deserves all the rights just on the basis of humanity. And then another important thing is fitrah. that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created you on his own nature. On his own nature. So who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Rabbil Alameen. He is the nurturer. He is the sustainer. So basically he sustains. That's why man loves to sustain others. You are created on the fitrah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's your nature not to survive only yourself only, but to help others. To help others. When there is a famous anthropologist whose name I missed, when she was asked that how do you mark the beginning of human civilization? Of course, it's from the evolutionary perspective. It's not from the perspective we are talking about, but I want to give you just an idea that she was asked that how do you mark the beginning of human civilization? That cavemen, or I mean, the cavemen started being humans from maybe Neanderthals or others. How did humanity started, or Homo sapiens start? She said that I will mark. People were expecting that she will say from when the wheel was invented, or when people started growing crops or something, or some kind of civilization related answers. But that lady said, I will mark the beginning of human civilization when with the time when first human thigh bone was healed. Femur bone, femur bone is the bone which is a thigh bone, and when it breaks, it takes a lot of time to heal. So humanity is that other people who were living in the caves and running for their lives and running for the hunting purposes, they waited so long with a wounded person to let his or her femur healed. What does it mean? It means that caring about others is humanity. And from where this idea is coming? From the idea, from fitrah, from nature. You don't learn it. It's in your fitrah, because fitrat Allah allati fatara an-nasa alayha. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created you on his own nature. So rabubiyyah, nurturing, sustaining, providing others, it's part of your nature. So, and the next most important thing is diversity as sign of God. What is the greatest barrier in community work, in social welfare? They are underprivileged people. They are people who are not, who are have-nots. Why they are have-nots? Because you prefer one gender over another, you prefer one ethnicity over another, you prefer one nationality over another. Islam tells you that diversity is sign of God. You are created from one soul, nafsin wahida, and Shurub and Qabail, nations and tribes were made only to distinguish between yourself, not for the sake of preferring one over the other. And also, it's all kind of diversity of gender. Nafsin wahida, Eve was created from Adam. So there is no superiority, or there is no such kind of diversity in a sense of inequality. So this kind of theoretical foundation can eradicate all kind of distinctions which you established, which make you handicapped when you are working in the societies for the sake of community work and social welfare. All these theoretical foundations make you equal in the eyes of constitution, in the eyes of morality, in the eyes of you become you see you deserve all kind of equal opportunities when you believe in such kind of diversity. And then holistic concept of virtue, which I just talked about, that bir is not only being good for being establishing good relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or being good in your faith, or being good in ibadat, or being good in all kind of things which are pertinent to you only. No. Holistic concept of virtue is, which we have just seen, that it talks about everything from iman to to giving wealth to ala hubbihi. So immediately after iman, it comes that how to spend, how to help others, and then who to help. We will talk about that later. And then about how to behave in the society, all kind of social practices. Mufuna bi ahdim iza ahadu, that you have to fulfill your promises, you have to be patient, you have to be truthful, and also you have to do all kind of charity, and you have to be God fearing. So this is holistic concept of virtue. It includes so many things. And then another very important idea, virtue is not something that is pertinent to you. That's what we said. So virtue is social work. Virtue is faith. Virtue is, if you want to be virtuous, it's your good deeds which are only confined to yourself will not save you at the end of the day. Because you see the hadith, Sallu bil layli wa nasu ni'am. This is there that you pray. But before that, what? Afshu salam. Spread peace in the society. At'amut ta'am. Feed the poor. Feed people. Not poor only. Feed people. Silu al arham. Connect your ties. Sallu bil layli wa nasu ni'am. So, tadkhulu al jannata bi salam. This is the way to Jannah. This is the way to Jannah. So this is holistic concept of virtue. Then inclusive concept of charity. We talk about charity or in the world. We talk about it a lot. We hear it from the people and we see people talking about that. What is charity? How do we understand charity? Giving away your wealth, helping other people, sharing your resources with others. This is how we see charity. So it means that only privileged people, wealthy people, people who have all kind of resources, they can do charity. But what Islam tells you, that social welfare, community work, being good to others is not confined only to the people who are haves, who are blessed in terms of wealth and money. No, charity is an inclusive concept. How is that? You are smiling at others, it's charity. In Islam, you call it, in Arabic, you call it sadaqah. You just remove something that is harmful for the people on the way, sadaqah. You just help others in any term. Your time, you do taziyah, you go, someone is sick, you go visit them, just say some good words of consolement and some good words of which help them heal or psychologically or some kind of stuff. What happens? That is sadaqah. So that is holistic concept of inclusive concept of charity, that everyone is included in the concept of in the act of charity in the society. It's not only the privileged. And then who is spending, who is doing sadaqah? It's another very important thing for philanthropists who are spending. The people who are spending, they think we are upper hands and we are spending on others, so we are better. No, in Islam, it's not like that. Excuse me. It is the person who is accepting your charity is basically helping you getting rid of your bad deeds, getting rid of your sins, because that charity takes away your sins. So basically, it's not you who are doing something good to others. They are also doing good to you by providing you the opportunity to get rid of your sins. So this is how charity is multilateral and it's codependent. This is something very unique in Islamic perspective. You don't find such kind of ideas of charity. I have not seen such concept of charity in any other value system in the secular world. Then another very important and significant thing which you find in the concept of social welfare in Islam is the organic flow of welfare. What is organic flow of welfare? It's not imposed from outside that you are paying welfare tax or you are just bound to pay such and such things here and there and that. And you are making organizations and this you are putting money over there and you are not concerned with your neighbor, or you are not concerned with the class fellow of your kid, or you are not concerned with the poor lady who is living just a few blocks away, or the janitor of your campus or somebody. You're not caring about that. Organic flow of welfare, circle, concentric circles. You know concentric circles? You stand in the center and you look around. First of all, you wish well. Yes. So first of all, you purify. Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess my slides are not visible anymore, right? Yes. So organic flow of welfare means what? That things start from you. You start purify yourself, you do everything for yourself, then it goes to your immediate family members. You're responsible for your parents, for your siblings, for your family, everybody around you, and then your extended family, and then it goes on further to your neighbors, to your immediate community, and then it goes on further to ummah, the concept of ummah, you know. So ummah is like a body. Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that ummah is like a body. When one part of body is in pain, the rest of the body also gets distressed, or it records, it also gets pain, right? Or the eyes cry on the pain of any body parts, if they are itching or if they are in trouble or something like that. So basically, from person to family, family to community, and community to ummah, and then from ummah to mankind. This is the organic flow of community work or social welfare, and this is how it should move. And you can see your resources, you can see to the extent you can do. This is what, of course, in your hands, and this is how your surroundings become covered. And this and these are the people who are most deserving when it comes to, of course, community work or social welfare. The last thing when we talk about the theory or the theoretical concepts is the concept of peace. Concept of peace is very important when it comes to Islam in particular, because usually when we talk about Islam, and particularly in European circles, sometimes it is Islam. It's the real word is Islam. As you can see here, it comes from Sin Lam Mim Salam, the same root word which is here in front of you, Afshu Salam. It's peace. Salam is peace. Islam also comes, it comes from the same root word, but with a little bit addition of Hamza, it becomes Aslama Yuslimu, so it also becomes submission. So submission and peace, both these meanings are included in the very name of the religion we are talking about. So its basic purpose is to spread peace and tranquility in the world. This is the first thing. So how you can establish peace in the society, how you can establish tranquility in the society without compassion? And what else do you need for community work and social welfare other than compassion? This is the basic thing which you need. So peace is very important. Peace is your inner peace. You get inner peace through piety, through belief in God, through getting rid of all kind of uh, greed and jealousy and lust and all kind of stuff. And then you transmit this peace to society around. So basically, in Islam, community work or social welfare is not confined to helping poor financially. It's about creating a peaceful society by all means, by including everybody across the gender, across the race, across the ethnicities, and also making them, as I said, at home. Again, from here, I would like to tell you another concept, that everything is creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How you will attain peace? Because you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator. He has created this universe. He has created nature. He has created you. So you, nature, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all of you are connected with each other. And this nature is created for your sake. It is created for you, to supply you, to supplement you, to provide you with certain things. So you need to be at peace with nature. You need to be at peace with yourself. So it brings in ecology as well. Community work and social welfare. In Islam, it also involves ecology, ecological well-being too. Be at peace with yourself, be at peace with nature, and be at peace with mankind. But unfortunately, how Islam is being propagated and how Islam is being mispropagated, we all can see that in media everywhere, in print media, in social media, and we see what's happening to Islam and Muslims in the world. Now we come to the practical pathways, or these were the theoretical foundations. As I told you earlier, that we cannot do things without understanding their theoretical underpinnings or the theoretical models on which things are based. So this is how Islam gives us the basic principles. that how do you understand yourself? How do you understand your creator? How do you understand nature? How do you understand your fellow human beings? And how to approach them. These principles delineate the basics of your behavior, the basics of your conceptualization of mankind, of community, of ummah, of everybody, as I just elaborated. Now we come to the next thing, that is practical pathway, or how to do that. Before that, I would like to share with you another hadith of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He said, let me tell you what actions are most excellent, the best of the actions, to gladden the heart of a human being. So you see, this face of Islam is not being shown to the world. This face of Islam is not being shown. We talk about you. Do you talk about mankind in general? Do you talk about humanity in general? That Islam addresses their issues. Islam talks about them. Islam includes them. There are so many verses in Quran that talk about nas. It begins with that. And nas, mankind, mankind, mankind. There are verses which address Muslims, but there are so many which talk about mankind. So, and there are so many hadiths which talk about mankind, well-being of mankind, spreading peace for mankind, including mankind for building of society. And Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to Medina. Did he make a community only on the basis of Muslims? No. Covenant of Medina, we all know about that. Mithaq Medina, it included all the people who were living in the society of Medina. Jews, others, and Christians, and I mean all kind of communities that were living in the society of Medina. They were included. Why? Because Islam includes everybody. Social inclusion is the essential thing which Islam talks about. So you can see what actions are most excellent to gladden the heart of a human being. It's not the heart of a Muslim. To feed the hungry. No specification again who the hungry is. You are not going to ask the religion. To help the afflicted. To lighten the sorrow of the sorrowful. And to remove the wrongs of the... sorry, it's not... It's a... I guess it's a mistranslation. Affliction of the injured, I guess it is, or the pain of the injured. So this is how Islam guides you. This is how Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam guides us about things. Now we are going to see why to do community work, how to do community work, and with whom, and who deserves to do that, or what are the qualities which make you eligible or capable of doing this work, community work, right? We have talked about why when we're talking about the conceptual foundations, but I'm going to just give it a quick overview again. To fulfill our social responsibility as a Muslim. It is your responsibility being a Muslim, if you are a God-fearing Muslim, if you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created you and created all fellow mankind, you have to benefit mankind and you have to serve others. Because this is what which connects you to Allah Almighty. Khairun nasi man yanfa'un nas. Khairun nasi man yanfa'un nas. Best of the mankind is the one from which others get benefit, from which others get good things. So benefactor of mankind is, and al-khalqu ayalullah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that this mankind is my family. And there is a hadith which says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when people will be resurrected, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask that I came to you hungry asking for something and you did not feed me. I came to you thirsty asking for water, but you did not give me water. And I came to you asking for clothes or asking to cover me, but you did not do that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have never come. But the people were coming. Mankind was coming and we were not covering their needs. We were not fulfilling their needs. So that's how we will be questioned on the day of judgment. So it's our social responsibility as a Muslim to work for the betterment of mankind who are around us. Duty as a believer, as I told you, true righteousness. What is true righteousness? That you fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You fear the questions being asked on the day of judgment. And as I mentioned, these are among the questions which are going to be asked on the day of judgment. Tadkhulul jannata bi salam. We have just seen that if you want to enter Jannah with peace, you have to do all this stuff. Then love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How would you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? By praying a lot at night? By fasting? By going for pilgrimage again and again? No. Islam tells you that if you love Allah, love His people, love mankind. This is very important to understand. That be good to people, be nice to people. It's not being nice superficially. Oh, hello, hi, how are you? Yeah, good. It's not. Sending good vibes, being there for people. The way Sayyidina Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was there for the people. How was he there for the people? You might have read something from Sirah that Sayyidina Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was available for the people. He was there when people were used to come to him, and he was even he was used to leave his majlis or his sitting to listen to a jariya, to a female slave who came to talk to him. So this is how he was available for the people. Anyhow, so the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Whosoever removes a worldly grief from a believer, Allah will remove from him one of the griefs on the day of judgment. Whosoever alleviates the lot of a destitute person, Allah will alleviate his lot in this world and the next. Whosoever conceals the faults of a Muslim, Allah will conceal his faults in this world and the next. Allah will aid a servant of his or a man so long as the servant or the person aids his brother." So this is how we are told that how to that why to do things. And now we are coming to the next thing, that is how to do that. By cultivating in ourselves God consciousness and sense of accountability. And then this is what we have already talked about, that if you know that amma man khafa maqama rabbi, that at the end of the day you are going to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you are going to answer all the deeds that you have done. And being, of course, good to mankind and serving mankind was one of your prime responsibilities in whatever capacity you were there, because Allah subhanahu Sayyidina Muhammad said, "Kullukum ra'in wa kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyatihi," that all of you are given a responsibility or a people to look after, and you are going to be questioned about that. So everyone, me being a mother, I have my family to look after. Being a teacher, I have my students to look after. So I am responsible for the community work, for social welfare, for the well-being of people who are with me, who are around me, who are put under me in some capacity, working in one capacity or another. So we are accountable for that. Divine laws of morality and truth, we have talked about that. Love of God and mankind, we have talked about that. Harmony and cohesion. If you want to bring, this is also I have talked about a little bit, that you need to bring harmony and cohesion in the society, and you cannot do that unless and until you establish justice in the society, and you help alleviate underprivileged people, unattended people, and the people who do not have, who are not given their due rights. This is very important. So you have to encourage, you have to establish cooperation and bonds in order to bring harmony and cohesion in the society. And then another thing which we have not talked about so far is perfection. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Inna Allah yuhibbul muhsinin." And this is a full-fledged concept in Islam, ihsan. Usually we talk about ihsan as being good to people, doing good, or a good act or something like that. Basically, ihsan comes from husn. It means perfection. It means doing everything in a way it should be, in the way it should be done. It ought to be done, right? So Islam tells you that you need to do everything perfectly. So in everything, of course, to behave with people perfectly, to deal with them perfectly, to serve them perfectly. And there is a hadith which says, "أن تعبد الله كأنك تراه فإن لم تكن تراه فإنه يراك." This is how ihsan is defined. So you serve people, you talk to them with purity of your heart, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can see in your heart that you are serving them only for the sake of your only for the sake of good name, for the sake of getting some kind of worldly benefits and worldly gains, or you just wish well for them deep inside your heart. So purifying your heart is a very important or significant aspect of perfection or ihsan. So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to be good to people from depth of your heart. Because if you are good at heart, things will be perfect. Things will, even if they seem imperfect, they will be perfect because their impression will last long. Their influence will change the society. It will have a great impact. Then sustained human effort. This is another very important concept in community work and social welfare, that we can imitate the model emulated by Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the state of Medina. That he established the society of Medina after spending 13 years in Makkah and training people who could endure all kind of stuff, all kind of problems, all kind of sufferings, and developed resilience and patience to create a society that was based on sacrifice, that was based on service to mankind. And that's what we can see in the society of Medina, that how these people left after migration, they left everything, they came there, and how Ansar served them and everything. So the society of Medina and the community work and social welfare in the society of Medina was based on sustained human effort. Sayyidina Muhammad was the prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have established the society of Medina without any kind of persecution in Makkah or without any kind of sustained human effort, jihad, ghazwat, all kind of sufferings, a lack of resources, everything, etc., etc. But no, he did not do that because he wanted to give mankind a model that how sustained human effort can change a society altogether. How people by themselves, with their own effort, by actualizing their own potential, can change the society, or can change the mankind, or can impact the mankind, or can bring about a revolution that will last for centuries, for all the times to come. So this is how sustained human effort or collective human effort can bring about change. It was not a miraculous change. It was not with divine intervention. It is what people earned themselves. So this is a very important thing, that you keep on doing things despite scarcity of resources, despite all kind of troubles that come your way. You need to overcome them. You need to keep on doing things. You need to be patient and resilient. Another important thing which is I think unique to Islam again is when it comes to social welfare, when it comes to sharing resources with others, is the idea of controlling your desire, or idea of impeding, or idea of minimalism, which you call today. In the West, this idea has just gained popularity, minimalism. Islam talked about it long ago. It said it divides all kind of the needs which you have into all kind of the expenditures which you do, all kind of things which you buy, the commodities on which you spend, divides them into three basic things: essentials, desirables, and luxuries. Essentials are the daruriyat, which you cannot do without, uh, right? You cannot do without them. They're essential. They must be there. Eating and drinking and a basic shelter and all that stuff. So essential is, of course, everyone's basic requirement. The society needs to provide everyone with the essentials. This is the basic thing in community work, in social welfare, that everyone must have access to shelter, to the essentials. It's the responsibility of the state, the welfare state, the Islamic welfare state. And then you have desirables. They're the things which you desire to have. In Islam, it's not prohibited to spend on desirables. You can spend on desirables. You can have them. You can spend on them. You're allowed to. If you have halal resources, you can do that. And if, of course, you can share it with the people around you if you wish to. And then there are luxuries. Islam does not encourage you to have luxuries. Does not encourage you to spend lavishly on luxuries. Does not encourage you to be extravagant. Why? Because if you will spend on that, you will have lesser resources to help the underprivileged. It is included in israf, spending on the things which are not required. And in Allah la yuhibbul musrifin. In Allah la yuhibbu man kana in Allah la yuhibbu kulla mukhtalin fakhur. that everyone who gathers things and then takes pride in that. I have this and I have this and I have this. This culture of accumulating wealth and then feeling pride over that. Islam discourages that. Why? Because in this way you will conserve resources and you will have more to spend on the people who do not have essentials. So this is a very significant idea in Islamic economy. Now we come to the next point, that is for whom you have to do all kind of services. This ayat al-bir talks about that kin. The first thing which is there, which we most of the times neglect in modern societies, to spend on the kin, the people who are your relatives, the people who are related to you. Sahran wa nasban, yani you are related to you, they are related to you by blood, or they are your in-laws, so they are your family in one way or another. Then orphans. Islam talks about taking care of orphans, and there are a lot of hadiths which talk about the blessings for the people who take care of orphans, or who nurture orphans, or who adopt orphans and take the responsibility and get them and help them out, and etc. So there are a lot of them. And the needy. Needy is an inclusive term. Anyone can be needy. Anyone can be needy in one way or another. So you need to see what kind of need they have. Do they need something financially? Do they need something psychologically? Do they need something emotionally? Do they need, what kind of need they have? Do they need something spiritually? Because Islam basically caters all these three basic aspects of your life: spiritual, psychological or emotional, and and physical. So what kind of need is there? Do they need nursing? Do they need medical help? Do they need any kind of thing which you can help them in? All kind of needs are covered. This is a very comprehensive term. And then wayfarer and those who ask. So there is also something for the people who ask. If they are asking you, you can always help them, keeping the good intention and um, keeping the faith that they might need something. That's why they are asking. And then ransom of slaves. Slavery is another very important idea in Islam, which is misused, misquoted, and Islam is accused of encouraging slavery, which whereas actually Islam has nullified the concept of slavery, and it is Islam which basically promoted such kind of values and um, encouraged people to free slaves on small things, and all kind of compensations of so many things were put in by paying, the things were compensated by paying the ransom of slaves. So that's how slavery was eliminated slowly, and slaves were given so many rights that practically there was no point in keeping the slaves. They became liability, and there was the concept of accountability was so augmented and it was attached to keeping the slaves, that slowly people stopped taking slaves. So that's how Islam slowly and gradually, as it does as a principle, uh, eradicated slavery from the society. Then who are the people who can do this job? Of course, as I told you, that every believer has to do that. But all the believers who want to do that, who intend to do that, or who are willing to do that, they need to uh, work on certain attributes in order to imitate Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or in order to imitate the model or the standard model which Islam gives its followers when it comes to the field of community work and social welfare. First of all, it is basira, that you should be very clear in your vision. Basira is not something which you can, basira, it comes from basar, but it is not your sight with which you see, with sensual sight. I mean, not with the way you see with your eyes. It's the eyes of heart. As I told you earlier, God fearingness, God consciousness, and also it's not only God consciousness. It is also realizing the um, situation and assessing the circumstances and seeing, for example, you have some resources and you have some people to help out. So you need to understand that how you will use these resources to help these people out. So it's goal and route vision, that you should be very clear about practical implications, about how to do things practically. So this is Basira. Islam talks about unified knowledge. Islam does not talk about the distinction of knowledge into scientific, secular, and religious and all that stuff. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source of all knowledge. So everything that makes you skilled, everything that makes you more capable of doing the social work, but let it be a practical skill from so-called secular knowledge, or let it be a theoretical foundation from so-called religious knowledge, you need to gather all that stuff in order to be a capable social worker. And then you have azm, or resilience. What is resilience? Which we talked about. Sustained human effort. You need to be able to sacrifice things. You need to be able to continue working for others. You need to be able to share things with others. You need to be able to control your desires. That's resilience. And then you have tawakkul. Islam talks about adopting or taking up the barriers which are required to do certain thing, and then depending on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because mayors are only the worldly means. The practical steps which you take, they are only the things, the material things. The concept, everything happens by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Trust in God. Put your trust in God. Put your trust in God. It will give you a certain kind of strength. All the functionalist theories of religion, they also understand, they also believe in this, that religion gives you strength, or belief in God gives you strength. So this is that strength which makes you put trust in God, that someone is there above there who is looking after you, who is behind you, will help you out when you are going to fall, etc. And then you have amal, that it's not only talk and talk and talk, right? It's not only conducting conferences and seminars and doing stuff and things and talking about that and delivering talks and engaging people the way we do with interfaith dialogue, right? We are running so many organizations about interfaith dialogue. But what's happening in the world practically, you can see. So, amal, practical steps, they are required. And then there is muhasaba, self-evaluation. Self-evaluation, that you need to evaluate yourself. You need to see for yourself, whatever I'm doing, for whom I'm doing. Am I going to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with that or not? Am I utilizing all my resources or not? Am I doing it in the perfect way or the way of ihsan or not? Etc. Right? What kind of muhasaba? Asking yourself questions. Islam says, hasibu qabla an tuhasabu. Ask yourself questions, evaluate yourself, judge yourself before the day of judgment, before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala judges you. And then you have muraqabah, self-monitoring. Again, it is related to muhasaba, but here you sit alone, you evaluate yourself, you analyze your deeds, you look into yourself, and that's muraqabah. And then you have isti'ana, that you take refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you ask him for help all the time. Because human beings slip, human beings get away, human beings get swayed, human beings get detract by shaitan or by the forces of evil. So what you have to do is always to seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. That's what Quran teaches you in the beginning. So that's all from my side, and I hope I have not bothered you much, and I have said something which made sense. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Assalamu alaikum.
Ji ma'am, thank you very much for your insightful lecture. Now we have question answer session. Please, you may raise your hand if anyone. Yes, I think we have a question in our inbox. I think Taba Shaukat is asking, How do we prevent people to do, if I can read it, please.
Tobias.
Yes. I know. How do we prevent people to do altruistic things only for the wrong reasons, like their own benefits, or out of fear from the final judgment? How do you make sure people do things out of the love for God, not love for themselves? In Christianity, it is said that even if I give everything, including my own life, for others, it will be of no use if I don't do it out of love. Please, ma'am. I think a question should be a brief, not a statement, a long statement. Question mean one or two sentence. It's requested to all participants. Please prepare your questions. Question is also an art.
You see, this is a good question, but I think we cannot make others do something. We can make ourselves do something, right? I always believe that change comes from within, and change begins from myself. I can train myself and the people who are around me in my capacity as a teacher or as a parent. That's what I can do. I can make minds, or I can uh, change the brains of only those people who are around me. As far as Islam is concerned, we have talked about that love of God means the love of mankind. Essentially, if you love God, it is reflected in your love for mankind. This is something, again, like Christianity, of course, as I told you earlier, that in my understanding, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, and all the religions that came before Islam, they work on the same theoretical foundations because all are God given. All derive their morality and laws from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from God, and you can use any name. So basically, it's self-training. That's why muhasaba is there. That's why self-evaluation is there. That you need to question your intentions all the time. Islam talks about intentions before the deeds, intentions before actions. So if your intention is not pure, if intention is not for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then your action is not accepted. So yes, this is what we can
Yes.
always keep in mind, that our love for God gets translated, our faith in God gets translated in our love for mankind. This is a principle on which we need to train ourselves, and self-training is the key, of course.
Thank you very much. We have second question. If I'm not wrong, healing wrong man with us. You mentioned divine laws of morality and truth. Could you give some examples concerning these laws? Aji ma'am, mic is over to you, please.
I did not hear you well. Can you please repeat the question?
Yes. Uh, a participant asking, you mentioned divine laws are morality and truth. Could you please give some examples concerning these laws?
Divine laws of morality and truth. Is that so?
Yeah.
Yes. So, yes.
She needs
This
some
is an interesting.
examples, basically.
Yes. Divine laws of morality and truth. When I said this, I again said at another point that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Islam is the source of all knowledge. And He is the ultimate legislator, Shari' or Muqannin, or the one who makes laws, or the one who provides the foundations of morality and source of truth. In Islam, a name for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Al-Haq. You see, Al-Haq. When you translate Haq, it is the ultimate truth and it is the ultimate reality. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ultimate truth. He is the only Haq. He is the absolute reality. And all other realities fade away when they are when in comparison with the reality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you want to see what is real, you will see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as criteria. If you want to see what is true, you will take the propositions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever God has said in Quran, you will take it as the criterion of truth. This is why he is source of all truth. And when I say he is the source of all morality, you can find all the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's as-salam. So he's the source of peace, right? And he is Razaq, he's Malik, he's Nafa, he's the one who benefits others. So he's the source of all morality. And in Islam, you have been told, تَخَلَّقُوا بِأَخْلَاقِ اللَّهِ, that how you need to perfect yourselves. You have to perfect yourself by climbing the ladder of being closer and closer to the morality of God. So what is the morality of God? All kind of goodness. So your whole life is basically a journey, climbing the ladder of being closer and closer to the moral values which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has in his personality. So this is how he is the source of morality and all kind of laws.
Thank you. We have another question. In Islamic anthropology, are human beings essentially good or evil?
This is a question of theology, right? So yeah, in Islam, human beings are good by nature. Good by nature. Why? Because فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا. That's what I said. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created people on his own pattern, on his own nature. But again, you are given the choice of choosing good and bad. He has created people on his own nature. It means that he has given them a bent towards goodness. But on the other hand, they also have a glimpse, kind of, what would I say, a bent towards evil as well. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran says, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا, that we have created a soul, فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا, and then we have put in it goodness and badness both. We have put both the tendencies. And وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْنِ, and we have shown people both of the paths. Why? Because it's just a matter of choice. You see, if you are not given the choice of choosing between good and bad, then you are not going to be the responsible for the deeds what you are doing at the end of the day. For being responsible of your deeds at the end of the day, you must be given the choice to choose between good and bad. So basically, you have the capacity to do good and bad both, but you are created with a bent towards goodness. That's what Quran says about it.
Yes. We have another question, and very interesting question. I think Maria Lazar have this question. First one, some say that zakat cannot be used for non-Muslims. What is your view on that? Any particular reason, please?
You see, I'm not trained in fiqh, so I would not take this question. I'm really sorry. You can ask someone who is mufti. I am not a mufti, so I will not issue a statement on that. I'm not sure about it. I'm not sure about it. Sorry, I cannot.
Second question, most of the time in our context, people use the phrase, don't befriend the non-Muslims, and a specific verse is used for that. Need your view on that.
Don't befriend the non-Muslims, and a specific verse is used for that. Need your view on that. I don't think that this is, I think that I am not sure about which verse you are talking about, but it must be out of context. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not ask you not to be befriended with non-Muslims. There is nothing. لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not prohibit you to have cordial relationships with people who are not at war with you, who do not wish bad about you, who have not done anything bad to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not ask you for that, because we conceive them as ummat da'wah, right? Ummat ijaba and ummat da'wah. We are the people who have responded to the call of Islam, and they are the people who are yet to respond. So you need to be good with people. You need to be friend with people. You need to be in cordial relationship with people. Islam does not say anything like that. Islam says I have just delivered the whole lecture and emphasizing on the fact that be good to mankind. How you can be good to mankind without befriending them or without being having cordial relationships with them? Yes, that's all from my side.
There is another question from Detlef Hilaire. I think that has not been replied back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
you
reading it.
mentioned such a
You
high
mentioned
standard
such
of
a
morality,
mm,
which we
mhm.
hardly see neither in the secular world nor in the Islamic world. What is the answer of Islam for those who would like to get salvation but are unable to live up to the standards?
That's a beautiful question, and that's a practical question.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. You see, there are two things. One is the theoretical foundations which I have mentioned. They are ideal things which we always try to achieve. They are the standards which are set as moral standards. They are very high. Definitely, they are very high. And we don't see any of them neither in the secular world nor in the Muslim world. But we have seen them once. At least we Muslims perceive that we have seen them once perfected in the personality of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the society established by him in the state of Medina. Uh, so this is how it is that these standards are ideals. They are the things which you need to yearn for, you need to aspire for, you need to try to live up to. The second part of your question, that what is the answer of Islam for those who would like to get salvation? Of course, Islam does not expect everyone to be at the highest standards of morality. That is not possible. When you are a human, of course, you commit errors, you do sins, and you fall down, and then you get up, and then you walk. So Islam asks you to keep trying. That's what is important. Salvation is not on for the people who are at the highest standards. It's for the people who keep trying. It's for the people who always yearn for goodness, who try to be good. So it's for trying and for yearning and for trying to live up to those standards and not being exactly, of course, none of us can be an ideal person in our life.
We have a question from audience, Muhammad Askari. Could you please ask your question, Muhammad Askari? Yes, please unmute. Yes, we have also a participant, Muhammad Akram. Please go ahead. Akram sir, सवाल कीजिए. Unmute yourself and please go ahead. Please unmute yourself. Akram साहब अपना माइक जो है इसको अनम्यूट कीजिए. I think he is not in our. Yes, we have another question. How do you define sin, and can mankind remove their own sin? What role plays Allah in removing sin?
Yes. Sin is in Islam is a very different concept from Christianity. In Christianity, you have this concept of original sin. And Islam does not talk about anything like that. Islam does not say that your blood is stained with any sin or the sin committed by someone else other than you. Islam is very clear about it that لا تزر وازرة وزر أخرى, that no one will carry the burden of anyone else. You have to, whatever you have earned uh, is deposited in your own account, and you have to pay for that, or you are accountable for that only. So this is how sin. The concept of sin is different from Christianity and Islam. Sin is disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wherever you go against the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wherever you do not follow the directions or the instructions given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that is sin. What role Allah plays in removing sins? It's very easy in Islam to remove sins or to get away with that. You just need to ask for forgiveness, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala definitely forgives those sins. You need to repent with true heart. You need to admit that I was wrong, I committed a mistake, I committed a sin, and I repent and I feel sorry for that. And I promise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not to repeat that and not to indulge in that again. So these are about the minor sins. And there are major sins in Islam which involve some kind of compensation. If they are done, if they involve something community violations like killing others, stealing from others, or doing kind of deceit or something like that, being a kind of or being a deceit or something. So what you will do is that you need to pay some kind of, you need to be pay kind of ransom. You need to you will be punished, or there are penal laws for that. In that and
Yes,
without punishment, these major sins will not be forgiven.
yes, we have another question from Muhammad Akram. Please go ahead, Akram Saab.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Please.
Sir, it is my honor to talk with you. And my question is that, ma'am, how can we prove the superiority of the Islam in the concept of social welfare in comparison with the modern world?
This is all what I said throughout my talk, I guess. In theoretical foundations, in the inclusive concept of the Kriyam Adam, or the honoring mankind in general, and also diversity being the sign of God, spreading peace, all kind of stuff, whatever I have said. There are so many things which are unique to Islam, and you don't find them in a secular world. The deep principles. So this is what I have this. I guess I had delivered a whole talk on that, so I am unable to say something else about it.
We can take only 2 questions more due to time management. We have a question from Dr. Shahzad Sadiq Faridi. How can we define the statement Islam is a code of life?
Can the question be elaborated?
Ma'am, could you please
further?
answer?
I did not get the question. I mean, how would you define Islam is the code of life? I could not grasp the idea what the person intends to ask.
How can we define the statement Islam is a code of life?
This is already a definition, man. Islam is the code of life. See? If you say how we can elaborate, this is something else. Yes. Code of life means that something which guides you.
We are not
about
able to listen you,
whatever
ma'am.
you do in life. You cannot listen to me?
No, it's okay right now.
All right. So yeah, I was saying that Islam is the code of life. It means it's a simple thing that includes everything, which the way we said that it talks about the rights of God, the rights of mankind, the rights to self. So this is what you need to live in this world, that how to behave with yourself, how to behave with your creator, and how to behave with nature around you, and how to behave with mankind. And Islam has given you the principles about everything. And Islam has given you the principles about this world and the hereafter. So this is, of course, code of life. And all religions are code of life, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't believe in this thing that some religions are code of life and some are not.
I think it will be our last question. A common question, you said the Quran says if one part of our body is in pain, the rest of the body is in pain too. These same words the Bible says too. So the question is this, that what would you say about why these words are the same in the Bible or Quran? I can't actually understand this question. If you can.
First of all, I didn't say Quran says that. I said there's a hadith which says that, right? Saying of the Prophet. It's not written in Quran. And also, as I mentioned earlier, I mentioned in the beginning, the very first thing which I talked about is that the source of all the revelation is God. So of course, the unity of message implies that again, that all the messages which mankind has been receiving through all these centuries are coming from the same God. So that's why message is same. The content is same in one way or another.
Ji, thank you very much, ma'am. Now I think the time comes to conclude the session. If there is anything from Mr. Mansoor or any other from
Okay.
administration.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Dr. Riaz, and there is another question from Henning. I think
Yes, please. Yes,
could
please.
a lot of good deeds be a substitute for Salat for a couple of days? Could a lot of good deeds be a substitute for Salat for a couple of days?
No, precisely no. Salah has to be compensated. Salah has to be repeated. Salah has to be offered. There is no compensation of good deeds as a substitute for Salah. No, it's not possible.
Ji, ma'am, thank you very much for an insightful session, and I also thankful to audience and participants for their active participation. I think it was a wonderful session. We have Alhamdulillah. So next session we have also a wonderful topic and also a very interesting speaker, Professor Akhlaq Rasool. Islam and its history, especially its expansions and the things we will discuss. It's very interesting. It's near to IR and political science of Islam. So now I request to Madam Kuratulan, please conclude the session.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me. It was a wonderful session. It was interactive, and I enjoyed taking questions and responding to people. Thank you for the opportunity. Assalamu alaikum.
Anything more from administration? Mansoor sir?
Thank you very much, sir. It's really a wonderful session and very interactive session. And I am very much thankful to all of you for being here with us, particularly our participant from German universities and our participant from here from Pakistan. Thank you very much for being here with us.
Yes, thanks. Now we will take a break for a week. Next, we will meet inshallah on Tuesday. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a nice day and have a nice
day and nice night also. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Henning, Mr. Tetref, and Tobias, thank you very much. And thank you very much for your student to be here with us. Okay, take care.